Hey guys, welcome back to Soul Reboot. You know I am your host, Alyson Charles. Now my next guest, I could not be more excited. He's one of those people that seems to be in alignment with the universe and with himself so powerfully that he seems to thrive no matter how many personal or career rebirths he has. He's currently known as a human research lab. We have so much to dive into today. Say hello to Luke Storey.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, brother. How are you? I feel like we need a human connection moment.
Great to see you.
It's always so good to see you. You know
You
how
got
much
new hair.
Yeah.
I like
You
it.
haven't seen this.
I mean, I've seen it not live.
In pictures.
Yeah.
How is it in real life?
New hair, don't care. I love it.
Okay. I feel like it's a better fit for me now.
It's cool. It's very sophisticated, very chic.
Thank you. And I am also channeling the goddess Isis that lives within me.
Nice.
So that's what it is for me.
Right on.
So the last time we spoke, I was on your amazing podcast, The Life Stylist, and we were both celibate. So I actually want to start there. Are you still celibate?
I blew it. No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't. Actually, I still am.
Really?
It's been almost nine months. Yeah.
That's so incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's interesting. First time since 1986, actually. I think I've never gone longer than probably a month or so.
Okay. And how is it feeling? Like, is it easier in month 9?
Well,
than month
it's interesting. It's not like a thing that requires discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, speaking of soul reboot, that's the whole kind of purpose of it. So It's not only just like not having sex, it's not dating, it's not flirting, it's not engaging on any level, because there's some work that I felt needed to be done within myself, and so I think when I first did, I was like, oh, I'll do this for 6 months, and that would have been like January 1st, and then the 6 months was up, and I was like, I don't know, I don't know if it's ready is the right word, but I didn't feel compelled, like, I need to go out and like get busy and hit the town, It was just like, this actually feels really good.
Well, the thing that's interesting for me, because I think I am no longer celibate, but I was for, I think, like 2.5 years.
Damn.
I know. And it was interesting for me because had someone told me that I would get to a stage in my life where I would go that long without having sexual intercourse, I think I would have been surprised.
Me too.
But it's really, I was surprised at how it wasn't that hard for me to abstain. I was just like, maybe by divine design, they put like some sort of like light grid computer chip in me, knowing that would be a necessary part of my journey and equipping me for being able to handle that. I don't know, but I was just like, and my friends would joke, they, born again virgin and all, which essentially it was.
Yeah.
Truly.
For real.
So that's amazing. And so where do you feel with the reasoning behind you being celibate, like the internal work that you said you were doing, where are you at with some of that work?
I feel really good. I think it's just, what it was is I just saw some patterns in my relationships that were fine at a stage of development, and I got the results that I wanted out of my relationships for the most part.
Okay.
And then that sort of stopped. And so I thought, well, rather than just kind of jumping back into the loop and doing things the way I do them, which is sort of just like, hey, free love, whatever happens, happens kind of vibe,
Flowing.
Yeah, to be a bit more intentional about it. And so, yeah, I feel really good about it. I feel it's like I'm tilling soil. That's what keeps coming to mind.
Oh, that's
like,
beautiful.
I'm sort of preparing myself for a new experience, and I didn't feel that I would have been able to have a new experience if I didn't do something different.
For sure. Like pausing the old paradigm.
Yeah.
Cleaning up, tilling that soil.
Yeah, just my values of what I expect from myself in terms of my own integrity and in terms of what I am looking for in a partner and what I'm willing to accept and what I'm not willing to accept, not only from them, but for myself. So it's sort of like learning how to be really comfortable in solitude.
Yes.
And just dig my own company.
That is sort of the key to everything.
Yeah.
Finding home within yourself. That way you do not have any unnecessary attachments to anything external because you're at home within.
Yeah.
But you just brought up something that I've been dying to ask you, so thank you for reminding me. Before we move on to the next topic, I want to know, you said last time that you're very clear on the kind of woman that you're calling in. So enlighten us a little bit. What are a couple of those qualities? Like, because you were like, I know exactly what I want.
Well, I think it's about alignment. It's just, I've had relationships that were fulfilling on certain levels, and they were great people, but I don't know that our ultimate destination was shared.
Okay.
You know, so it's more about an alignment of values and lifestyle. And
what's one of those values and lifestyles?
One of those values would be someone who's really committed above all else to their own development and their own spiritual life.
Yeah.
So
a fellow soul rebooter.
Yeah, so that, you know, that because that's my thing. You know, I mean, I have all these gadgets and I'm really into like health and all that stuff, but to me that's just a means. That's just getting the vehicle tuned up for the download. It's not like the point. It's a total side project to the real mission, which is evolution.
And you're opening up the gateways and the portals and the light grids and the channels within you through all of you being a human research lab to let the light and the love and everything open up more inside of you. So let's talk about the gadgets a little bit. Yeah. Well, before we get to those, I want to know about the stem cell, because I saw we were texting when you were heading up to Utah and then I was watching the pictures and what occurred with all of that?
Well, I've had, as you know, you saw me take my back brace off. I've had like lower back pain forever, and I used to play music, and most of the time I was drunk when I was doing that, and I probably hurt my back like hauling amps around, going on tour, and just being young and dumb and not listening to my elders that said, use your legs or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think it's just kind of wear and tear, and so I've had on my in my vision journal and vision board and stuff for years to get stem cell treatment. I found out about it, I don't know, probably 10 years ago or something like that. And it's supposed to be really effective in alleviating injuries and helping you fast track healing and whatnot. And, but it's also very expensive. And there's limitations in terms of what doctors are allowed to do within the United States. And that sort of loosened up. It hasn't gotten less expensive, unfortunately, but the regulations have loosened up a little bit, and I met a doctor and wanted to interview him on my show, and he's one of the leading experts, two doctors actually, Dr. Harry Adelson and Amy Killen.
Up in Utah, right?
Yeah, they have a clinic called Docere Clinics in Park City, Utah. So I finally decided I can't take this pain anymore. Like I'm so healthy, I feel so good, it's just I have this nagging pain in my back, and I'm just like, I got to do something. So yeah, I went to Utah. I actually recorded a podcast over the whole journey, kind of an NPR
I
style.
saw you podcasting from your car while you were driving. I was like, this dude is...
Yeah, it's not very safe. But yeah, it's the first narration style show I've done. It comes out in a couple weeks. So cool. I'm podcasting on the plane. I've got my whole mic thing on next to the people. You know, it's the whole thing. But anyway, I got there and interviewed them. And then right after the interview, we're interviewing now, it's like, cool, there's an operating table right there. They put me under and started carving me up, and I actually live streamed the surgery itself on Facebook and Instagram, and then made a video of it. But I haven't watched any of it because it's quite gory, and I'll get freaked out. So I'm just going to put it out and never watch it.
Interesting.
So that's been a few weeks now, and a lot of the things they did are feeling better. Like my shoulder's much better.
About how long is it supposed to take before you feel the effects?
Well, for something that's like a long-standing injury like my back, it could be 3 or 4 months.
Okay, that's still not that long.
Before that, though, you can experience a lot of pain and inflammation, which is what I'm experiencing now.
Ooh.
But I also had my face done.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about your penis too.
Yes. I had the wedding tackle injected.
What is that all about?
Well, they offered the service. They're like, you're already.
They toss that into.
There's two doctors. Dr. Adelson does injuries and pain, and Amy does what she calls sexual optimization and beauty. So she
didn't know this existed.
Yeah, she does Botox basically. So there's one called a P shot, which is for the men.
Okay.
And then there's one called the O shot for women, which is crazy vaginal rejuvenation, orgasm enhancing.
And it's putting stem cells in there?
Yeah, they extract stem cells from your fat on your back, and then from in your hip. It's a bone marrow extraction.
Okay.
They mix them up and do crazy stuff to it, and then they inject them at all these different sites. So they did my face, my scalp, the wedding tackle, back, hip, shoulder, wherever I hurt.
Wow.
And so they offered to do that too. I wouldn't mind having thicker hair and less wrinkles and a longer functioning duration.
That's what it's supposed to do.
I don't know.
Because you haven't tested it out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of funny. I was like, great.
Is so great.
Yeah, it's like buying a Ferrari and you fucking don't have the keys. So we shall see. But the thing is, I'm under and they've already extracted them. So I'm like, dude, you guys just do your thing.
It was on the menu of options. And
and I'm kind of full on, so we'll see.
I love it. So and speaking of full on, I do want to take it back because I imagine you being so curious about all these practices and ways that you can evolve. a lot of it probably stems from your past and your addiction journey.
Yeah.
So can we touch upon that? Because I know that was one of the biggest defining moments in your life, the day that you had that surrender moment with universe and God.
Yeah, we talked about that
Yeah.
when I was supposed to be interviewing you. Huh?
Right, yeah. But I was so curious.
That's how it goes sometimes,
Of course. So I remember you saying your addiction started at a very young age.
Yeah.
So can you share a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, I grew up in Northern California. All the hippies, after, the Summer of Love, kind of migrated out of the Haight-Ashbury, area of San Francisco and started weed farms and importing coke from Colombia through Bodega Bay. And it was just a very drug-laden area where I lived. And the culture there was just very drug infested. And I grew up around like lowriders and bikers and kind of a low-income area. And I also experienced a lot of trauma earlier on. And so a combination of like trauma and the availability of a lot of good drugs, was sort of made me fertile for addiction. And I started using when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Wow. Every time I hear you say that,
it's crazy. I know, it's weird because I look at a kid that's like even 10 or 11. I'm like, oh my God, it's hard to imagine them like snorting coke and meth and doing all this stuff.
How is it so accessible?
I mean, everyone stole it from their parents.
Okay.
Like everyone's parents in my neighborhood just, the minute the parents would leave, we would raid their drawers and look under the mattress. And we would, it's crazy. We'd find like pounds of cocaine and I mean literally just crazy Scarface stuff. And
I see.
When you're a kid, there's no way you don't know that like a huge bag of cocaine could get you killed or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's just I was like selling it to the gangs in the neighborhood. It's just madness, But it's something I'm very grateful for because it sort of sped up my evolution, because by the time I was 26...
You had lived so many lifetimes.
Yeah, and my whole world... I had lived in Hollywood at that time for a while and was playing music and just running amok. And there was a period where it was really fun and wild and free and all of that, and my coming-of-age years. But then it got really, really dark, and, I told you the story of how I checked myself into a rehab, and I had this crazy sort of spiritual experience in there, and, I've been sober to this day. So how that led me to get into all of the personal development and all of this pretty intense, health stuff and biohacking is I realized early on that the solution was a spiritual solution, that there was no way that I could just like think positive and you won't be a junkie anymore. So I started really pursuing spirituality and meditation and all that. But then I also realized that my body had been damaged. My mind had been damaged. I was really toxic, and so, maybe a year or two into my sobriety, I started detoxing and really exploring alternative healing and health and stuff like that. So now it's kind of a well-rounded thing where it's truly mind, body, and spirit. For sure. Rebirthing and, over and over and over again.
And what was that surrender statement? Because I know you expressed something very specifically, right? Are you cool sharing? Like
I'm cool sharing anything.
What you said
That's the funny thing. When I first started my podcast, I kind of like sort of put it off for about 6 months because I didn't know. I had to make a decision about how vulnerable I wanted to be, how forthright I wanted to be about my past, because as you know, working in media, once you say something, it's kind of out there.
It's there.
And even though I was relatively unknown then, and largely still am, I had to kind of make a decision how open I wanted to be. And I don't know, over the course of the first year, I was like, fuck it. If it can help somebody that's struggling with the same things that I've struggled with, then it's worth like the embarrassment of going like, yeah, wow, I have kind of a dark, sordid past, But
so what did you say to God?
What I said to God was really simple, and it's so funny because it's like it's still the formula now that I use for all of my problems,
Same. Yep.
And that was just like essentially I just prayed. Probably for the first time in my life, because I wasn't religious or anything like that. I wasn't exposed to prayer. I didn't even know how to do it. I probably saw it in the movies or something,
Right.
And I was like, I think you put one hand here and one hand here.
And then you talk out loud.
I think you get on your knees. It was like very awkward, like 12 hours sober at that point or something after, 10 years.
Ooh, so you were in that.
Oh, yeah, I was in the throes of withdrawal and all that. So my prayer was just like, very simply, God, will you just relieve this deadly obsession that I have? Because I couldn't get a break. There was just every minute of every day, I just craved and craved and craved. And even, and just my willpower was completely useless against that. And so it was something to the effect like, God, I just want to be sober. Like, fucking help me.
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore. I can't take this pain, And and that was the most profound experience of my life, because from that moment until sitting here now, 21 plus years later, my prayer was answered, and I never have ever once even considered like, oh, maybe I could have a glass of wine or smoke a joint, or like, I'll get away with it. Like, I was restored to sanity in that moment of like, wow, no, I'm a person that just can't fuck around, you know, because that's what I always tried to do. I was like, oh, I'll just smoke weed, and then that would, you know, domino into all of the hard drugs, and then I'd end up strung out and have a train spotting kind of experience, you know, over and over and over again, fucking Groundhog Day. So in that moment, I think I had the ultimate humility moment of my life where I was like, wow, I'm really stuck and I can't help myself.
Yeah,
you know?
It's those moments of surrender, though, and we've talked about that quite a bit. But that's how I live my life too. And every single day, every minute of every day, I'm just surrendering the heck out of it all.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
But congrats!
Thank you.
21 years.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
It's a gift. I feel lucky. I've watched a lot of people die over these years. People that I've known, and they just, for whatever reason, they can't get to that point of surrender. They just can't give up their own ideas and their own will. You know, and so.
Yeah, well, I want to dive into these gadgets in a second, but before we do that, I know that you've had so many cool iterations and rebirths throughout your life. You know, are a really famous celebrity stylist, and then you became an entrepreneur and launched your own school, which is called the
School of Style,
which still goes on to this day. And then about a year and a half ago, you launched the Life Stylist Podcast, which is just like wildly popular and taking over the world at this point. So with all of these threads and like you rebirthing, where have you landed? What is your calling? What's your mission here?
Well, I have explored a lot of different things in life, from being a musician to, as you said, being a stylist and starting a school and all of that. And I think that at this point in my life, and of course in 10 years I might go, no, now at this point in my life, but I feel like my passion and my abilities, my competence are in alignment now.
Okay.
Whereas, you know, when I played music, I was really passionate about it, but I don't know that I was that talented. And I'm not.
What kind of music were you
I'm not
playing?
being self-deprecating. I'm not like an exceptional musician that just blows your mind. I'm okay. I have some natural ability, but I'm not like the next Jimi Hendrix.
What were you playing though?
I played bass, just rock and roll. Yeah. And I play guitar and bass. So.
Okay.
And then
no singing?
Not so much. Okay. I want to learn though. That's my bucket list. I want to take vocal lessons because I have this limiting belief that I can't sing, and I get really embarrassed when I try to sing, and I would really like to be able to just.
Do you
for my
chant
own
at
pleasure.
home? Do you at least?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've been doing Kundalini yoga for like 6 years very regularly, and so I actually have gotten better at singing from that.
What's one of the chants? I like a Hum Prema. I'm really solid.
Oh God, I was just listening to one on the way over here, just spazzing out in my car. How does it go? Oh my God, I can't think of it, and I just listened to it for like 10 minutes straight. Oh my God, it skips. It eludes me. It'll probably come to me when I don't try.
Okay.
Satanama, da 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 da. It's so funny.
Satanama.
I listen to it all the time. That's what's hilarious. Oh my God. And then, then back to the career thing, just to wrap that up. Then when I was in styling, I think that I didn't have a lot of passion for it, but I was pretty good at it. It's a weird thing. I'm just I have some visual acuity and artistic sense there. And so I was successful despite not working at it that hard. I mean, I worked hard, but it wasn't like, I didn't have the passion. I wasn't like, I want to be the male Rachel Zoe. I just was like, well, I guess this is my gig, and kind of fell into it in a random way. And then starting the school, like learning about business has been amazing for me. I mean, there's been a lot of growth there. But when I started the podcast, and I created a forum wherein I can talk about my deepest, spiritual beliefs and experiences, and also all of the things in health that I discover, and have the opportunity to share the experts that I seek out in the world and bring them forth and introduce them to probably a new audience in many cases. Now I feel like, wow, I'm really good at this, and I'm so passionate about doing it. Like, I love what I do, and ultimately it's just helping other people get out of suffering.
Yeah, and
physical, emotional, mental, spiritual suffering, and more than anything, also it's been a tool for my own growth, because I get to sit down and basically be taught by all the masters in the world that I can find. So it's incredible, like the personal growth that I've experienced as a result of doing it.
Love it.
And then I get messages constantly from people, oh, you changed my life because now I'm doing this or that. And so there's a lot of fulfillment there. And I also get to sort of infuse some of my recovery work in there too, which is cool.
For sure.
Because I'm so open about it. I get a lot of messages from, guys that are like, oh my God, I didn't know someone cool could be sober, which is what I used to think.
Right.
I was like, how lame. Sober? Are you kidding me? Fucking nerds. You know what I mean? It's just like, no way.
Look at you now. Speaking of nerds.
Yeah, I am a huge nerd.
You're such a biohacking nerd in the best way.
Totally.
So let's go with these contraptions.
Okay.
So yeah, I was so excited. I asked Luke, I was like, please bring. I know he does everything. He's tried everything. Except for when you interviewed me and I was explaining about some of the stuff I did. You're like, I can't believe I've never done that.
I've never done the leeches.
Oh, the leeches.
Yeah, that was the one. I watched the video on that. I was like, God, she's got me beat. I can't believe I've never done that. It's like one random thing I've never tried.
You have to try it. It's so good. But what do you have?
Okay, so first device here, and I'm not sure which direction the camera's heading, but this guy right here.
Oh, pretty.
Yeah, this guy right here is called a Nano V, and what it does is this guy right here. Okay, I see.
I love how gorgeous it is.
Yeah, so the Nano V does something. Which I wish we had more time because I could like light you up with this shit. Man. We'll do it another time. Okay. But the Nano V, out of this little nozzle here, produces something called exclusion zone water or ordered water. So it's a water vapor, and it's
What do you do? Put your mouth on it?
Oh God, no.
Oh, I thought you like inhaled
Alyson, jeez. No, you just basically chill, and it just, you work on the computer, hang out, watch TV, whatever, and you just breathe it. Or you can use a cannula, cool. That you put on and do this trip.
Can you feel it coming out of there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can.
So what's the point of this?
Yes.
This reduces dramatically oxidative stress and inflammation, and it actually heals your DNA. So our DNA gets damaged just from daily life. So this is used for like anti-aging and injury and stress, athletic performance, recovery, and things like that. So
what's one of these things go for?
This one right here is $12,000.
What?
Yeah.
That thing better work.
It's kind of high. It works.
Does it?
Oh, there's endless white papers and data and studies about, the efficacy of this particular device. Yeah, it's insane. So the Nano V. So what I do is just when I meditate or I'm sitting, at home, just hanging out, doing whatever I'm doing, sitting on my laptop, this just sits next to me on my couch. It's my co-pilot. I just drove up to San Jose to do a Tony Robbins event, and I put this in the back seat, and I just huff this thing.
Oh, it's so good.
The whole way, yeah. So it alleviates, jet lag and travel fatigue and things like that.
So you're definitely getting your $12,000 worth.
Very much so, yeah. I use this thing nonstop. It's insane. And this was on my vision board, which I made, or vision journal now, like a book I'm doing. I put one together in December, and by February it was in my hands.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, I manifest that shit real quick.
Love it.
Yeah. So there's
Nano V.
So there's that.
Digging it.
There's that. And then let me see how I can get to this next one.
All right.
Let's see. You know what I'll do? I'm just going to move this guy out of the way.
Okay.
Now that we've done that.
No wonder. I mean, like, you still have to, you need to watch your back still to this day, lugging all of these giant
I know, right?
pieces around.
And then this one right here, this is the crown jewel. This is called an amp coil.
Okay.
And the amp coil is a combination of a couple different healing modalities. Thank you. How the amp coil works is essentially through sound and vibration.
Okay. I'm all about both of those things.
Yeah, you know all about that. And so it combines two different therapies, essentially. It combines the technology of what's called biofeedback. And biofeedback is where you're getting your body to actually communicate and interface with a device. Or, it could be biofeedback if somebody's giving you a massage and you twitch, that's biofeedback. Okay. Right? So the way this thing works is there's a bank of frequencies that exist that have been tested over time through biofeedback technology that live within this device. This is just a regular device, but there's an app that has a bank of all these frequencies. So you could think like a number of different albums that have different songs that have different notes and tones.
So if I wanted to use this for a certain purpose?
Yeah. Well, what it was invented for was to treat Lyme disease. And that's why my mom has Lyme disease. And so that's why it piqued my interest. And then as I got into it and learned more about it, I found that it treats a number of different autoimmune issues and all sorts of things. And it's also a consciousness device. So there are frequencies in here that get delivered to this 200-watt amplifier.
Okay.
And then the amplifier sends those frequencies through this coil.
Whoa.
Which I probably can't get out right now, but anyway, it's
What do you do with it?
It's called a modified Tesla
coil. Can I hold it?
Yeah, you can hold it.
Is this where the vibrations come out of?
Yeah, so essentially think of like this as your player. This is the amp and that's the speaker. And this technology is called PEMF, pulsed electromagnetic field.
Why do I feel like I can feel something even without it being on?
Maybe you're energetically sensitive.
But you just set this in your house?
No. You put this on your body. So depending on what you're working on, I use it mostly for meditation and just.
Can you turn it on? Can I feel it?
Yeah, chakra realignment and things like that. So sometimes you put it on your chest, sometimes on your abdomen, sometimes behind your head.
I had a huge shamanic process that ran through me last night. I feel like I need to put this on my it was really intense.
Well, tomorrow at Whitma, I'm setting up a whole biohacking lounge
so Luke's, I can get another
Luke's lounge,
dose.
so we can like take you on a journey.
Thank you. I feel like that would be great.
It will rock your world. This particular device is really fun because it's one of those things where you feel the effects of it immediately. You could be like in a really high anxiety beta kind of like freaked out state, and you run one of these programs and 30 minutes later you're living in a completely different universe.
Amazing.
It's fascinating. So now the magnetic coil is on.
All right.
And it's running a frequency. And so
the grand finale.
Yeah. So you have a mic on, so you don't want to put it on your upper chest. But
can I put it on my lower belly?
Yeah.
But it's on? Why don't I feel it?
Well, it runs through a sequence of frequencies. Some of them are higher, some of them are lower. So if it were quiet in here and you were by yourself, there'd be times where you hear like a it runs.
And what's this one supposed to do? Just
this overall? Is the demo harmonizer, and this aligns your chakras and also entrains your brainwaves. So it'll take you into a theta brainwave state, which is a really beautiful state of being. So it's just essentially nourishing and relaxing.
Can I put it on top of my head?
Yeah.
Let's try that out.
Yeah. it's kind of heavy.
Oh, I like it.
When I use it, I'll lay down and just put it behind my head sometimes. You know, it's quite heavy, so to like sit up is difficult. But yeah, or you can lay on your stomach and put it on your upper back.
I like it.
It also has pain frequency, so I've been using that on my lower back. So it's a really diverse piece of technology.
And how much does this one cost?
$7,500.
Okay, so this one's a good steal.
Yeah.
This is a deal.
Yeah, it's like,
I love it.
You could buy a Prius or you could buy this thing.
Amazing. Well, thank you for lugging those in today.
Yeah.
I definitely want to get more of it tomorrow.
Yeah, I can't wait to treat some people tomorrow because when you have such a highly energized kind of event going on like that, it's really fun to take people that are in a really activated state and just drop them in because it creates a contrast. Like,
for sure.
You can really feel it when you're like in that nervous energy.
We normalize that constricted, tight state. A lot of people do, so a lot of times you don't even know that you're operating in that way until you said, like you said, you feel the opposite and you're like, oh my gosh, then you know where you can dip into. Where you should be dipping into. So before we go, like anything you want to let the folks at home know about where they can find you, where they can listen to the Life Stylist podcast?
I think the thing that I'm most excited about still after it'll be 2 years, June 6th, is the Life Stylist podcast, 3 words, the Life Stylist. And there I interview experts from all over the world on all things health, spirituality. I'm interviewing Byron Katie in a couple weeks. I'm really excited about it. Yeah, I've interviewed Sharon Salzberg and
me.
You have been on the show, of course, and Neil Strauss, a great author. We did a show on relationships. I've interviewed John Gray and Dave Asprey, the founder of Bulletproof, and just I find all the top players that I believe are the most badass that specialize in something, and I interview them and kind of dig out the nuggets from them. So that's kind of the main place people can find me. Social media, I'm most active on Instagram. It's at Luke Storey, and then the mothership is lukestorey.com, and that's where everything exists.
The styling, the school, everything.
I don't do styling anymore.
But the school is
School of Style has its own website. That's School of Style. If somebody's interested in becoming a fashion stylist, we are the biggest and best in the world at teaching people how to do that. And so that's still going. But yeah, I'm all into the health and wellness thing, and I'm just going full on.
Indeed you are. That's why I love you. So thank you so much for joining me on Soul Reboot and bringing your high vibrations and your consciousness energy to the set and out into the world more.
Awesome. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for having me.
Namaste.
Namaste to you.